Okay, Google, what is the distance between Japan and California?
California is 8,617 kilometers from Japan.
Really? And listen, a second. This thing is bringing it up. That's fantastic. But it's not that fantastic because everything that's ever been built, everything that's ever been calculated or measured is in a giant database. Okay? And all you got to do is ask Google. It recalls this database and brings it up. There's not a building, a square footage of a building or a footage of a building that's not been databased. Anything that's ever been built, ever been measured, let me repeat what I just said. Anything that's ever been built and has ever been measured is in a database. You don't need a calculator or a formula to come up with curvature, because every single letter, every single number, anything that's ever been measured is already in a database and can be easily brought up to you by Google just by going, okay, Google, what is the distance between Italy and Japan?
Japan is 9,723 kilometers from Italy.
And how tall is the Eiffel Tower?
The Eiffel Tower is 984 feet tall.
Amazing. You just know it so fast because it's in a database. Right? That's all it is. Okay, Google. How tall is the World Trade Centers?
According to Wikipedia, at the time of their completion, the Twin Towers, the original One World Trade Center, at 1,368 feet to 417 meters, and Two World Trade Center, at 1,362 feet to 415.1 meters, were the tallest buildings in the world.
Nice. All right. Okay, Google. What is the distance from New York to California?
If you drive, California is 2,913 miles away from New York.
Amazing. So anything that's in a database. So if an engineer builds something, it's going to be in a database. No matter what it is. I don't care. You name it, it's in a database, and you can easily, in a second, bring it up on Google. You see my point I'm getting to, right? But the second you ask it a very simple question, because we've been in high technology for years now, and everything's been measured. There's nothing that hasn't been measured. Every square inch of this realm is in a database. You got it, folks. But why is it when you go, okay, Google, what is the curvature from New York to California?
Here are some results from the web.
See? What do you get? Earth curvature calculator. You got to use an Earth curvature calculator. It's not in a Google database. You understand that? But the problem with curvature calculators, you could program that to just about anything you want. You could make a donut and have your Earth curvature calculator of a donut, a grapefruit, a golf ball, a basketball, anything you want. And in no way, shape, or form does it give you curvature of anything. You understand that? Why is it that when people Google the curvature from New York to California, that they can't have an answer? Just like you can Google the distance between New York and California. Do you understand that, right? Because it's not in a database. Once you put that information in a database, it'll screw all the other information up. You understand that? It'll be clear as a ringy-ding-ding that there is no curvature once they start putting that into a database, because they would have to actually make it up, because there's no engineer that had to build a building, I got to account for curvature, because engineers already admitted they never account for curvature. No matter what you're building. If you're building the World Trade Center, don't have to put the calculation of the curvature of the Earth in, right? If you're building a railroad, ironically, you don't have to know the curvature of the Earth to build a railroad. You don't have to. Nothing has ever been built that they had to know the curvature of the Earth because it's always flat. Ask engineer. Oh, it's always flat. We always use the always flat rule. You see what I'm saying, right? But after all these years, you don't think that Google would know the curvature from New York to California? Because once they put that in a database, it's over. Because it's going to screw everything up, wouldn't it? That's why they use a calculator, and they'll be like, oh, well, the calculator, the formula was wrong. It's always wrong because there is no measurable curvature. If they can measure curvature, when you ask Google, what's the curvature from New York to California, they would give it to you. It would be on maps. Now, if you ever noticed, if you looked at a regular paper map, latitude, longitude, anything that has to do with any kind of numbers telling you about any information is on there. The only thing that's not on a map is the curvature of the Earth. Now, if you buy a globe, you would think if you buy a fucking globe, it's going to have the curvature of the Earth on it. No, they just make it round, and that's it. That if you want to know the curvature anyway, you have to go to this flat Earth curve calculator. By the way, all right, at this point, the audio from my camera got all distorted. I probably had my finger over the microphone. Plus, I think I got a little irate, a little angry, and I think I was cursing way too much anyhow. But back to the point of this flat Earth curvature calculator. Well, they call it the Earth curve calculator. They have to use this curve calculator because it's the same distance. They just go by how many miles. Okay, they don't go by from Italy to Japan. Okay, it's because according to them, the curvature is the same no matter where you start. It's just always the same, even though they're saying you're living on an oblate spheroid, so it wouldn't be the same. You understand that, right? If the Earth is not perfectly a sphere, then you can't use a Earth curve calculator. You understand that? That's why we go back to the old good old thing where Google has everything in a database, so anything that's been measured would be in a database. It is an impossibility not to have the curvature from Italy to Japan if indeed the Earth was a spherical ball spinning in space. You understand that? Okay, there's no way around this. Google should have these statistics. Even now. All right, so why don't you write Google or write to your government and say, look, why don't you put the statistics in there? Show Max Malone, he's an asshole. They can't. They cannot fake those numbers. Okay? If you go to a flat Earth curve calculator, it doesn't matter what state to state, what country to country, because the numbers will always be the same. They just go by the distance. That's what an Earth curve calculator does. It goes by the distance, and that's how much you should or should not see behind the curve. It doesn't tell you the curvature of the Earth. Okay, a Earth curve calculator does not know the curvature from Japan to Italy. It only knows distance. So you're trying to tell me that the curvature is identical no matter where you are on this spinning ball? Well, if you talk to all the scientists, they'll say, well, it's not the same because it's an oblate spheroid, it's a little chubbier in the middle. So you can't have the same curvature. Yet they use a curvature calculator to fool the really stupid people. Oh, there's a curvature calculator. But you're just typing in miles. So no matter how many miles it is, oh, it's the same distance from Japan to California. It's the same distance as, Austria to this. You understand they're only going by miles and not detecting any curvature? Do the smart people get this and the dum-dums don't understand what I just said? You can't go by a calculator. Calculators don't tell you curvature from Japan to California. You're not a perfect sphere. If we were living on a sphere, it would not be a perfect sphere. So there is no measurements. Even if you use an Earth curve calculator, there are no measurements that would pertain to California, to Italy. You understand that? Because according to the Earth curve calculator, they're only going by miles. So no matter where, so if you want to know the distance, the curvature from Japan to Italy, you go, how many miles is it? It doesn't work that way. That's not the curvature. That's just a calculator giving you you can't have the same curvature. The same miles should not equal the same curvature. You understand that? Because the curvature should be different. It's not a perfect sphere. So there are 0 measurements, 0 numbers, 0 information in any database. It does not exist. You can't use a Earth curve calculator to distinguish curvature from Italy to Japan. Okay? We all get that, right? A 2-year-old understands that it doesn't work. It's a no-no. They're only going by miles. If it's an oblate spheroid, the curvature is different from every country to country. You can't punch in 50 miles or 50 miles all around the world. It's the same curvature. It's not the same curvature. Curvature does not exist. Otherwise, it'd be on maps. It would be on Google. It would be a statistic. It would be in a database. There's nothing in this realm that's not in a database. The only thing, and I mean the only effing thing that's not in a database is curvature. And curvature calculators don't give you the curvature of the realm you live in. They can only give you, it's 100 miles. This is what the curvature should be. So you don't know the curvature from Japan to Italy? Well, if it's the same distance from this country to this country, then it should be. No. We should know the curvature from city to city, country to country, state to state. It should be on a map. Just like we have longitude and latitude. How did they figure that out? You understand that, right? With all modern technology today that exists, there has $1 trillion to anybody who's ever measured curvature or has any evidence of anybody measuring curvature. And you can't use a curve calculator. I just told you why curve calculators don't work. It's 100 miles of curvature should be. No. You live in an oblate spheroid according to, what's his name? Right? To all the scientists. This is Stunad's. So the Earth curve calculator has everything against it. There's nothing for it. Nothing proving that this thing is in any realm of any reality. You understand that? Now, flat earthers use the Earth curve calculator all the time to disprove the sphere. Because whatever numbers you punch in there, the calculator says, you shouldn't be able to see such and such. It should be 2 miles, a whole 2 miles behind the curve. And what happens is we always see whatever we're trying to find in its entirety because the Earth is flat. Okay? All the time. So whatever this Earth calculator does, it doesn't do very well because that's 10 miles below the curve. Oh, why are we seeing it? It's a mirage, of course. You know. Every day? Sometimes it's every day. I mean, sometimes it's every day. I mean, what kind of lies do these people come in and the assholes? Yes, it's a mirage, man. It's kind of no sense so. How stupid are you people? I don't understand. If you research flat Earth, you would know that flat earthers use this curvature calculator like on a daily basis to prove it wrong. Because it's just a mathematical equation using numbers, which has nothing to do with the Earth. So it's so easy. They use it every day. Well, it's 50 miles. We're supposed to see this such and such below the curve. And we see that building. We see that lighthouse. We see that, that land mass. We see everything. No matter what it is, we always get something to zoom in with it. A camera that zooms in on it. The Earth curve calculator has nothing going for it. It's a big zero. If the Earth had a curve, or any curvature, it would have been measured 1 billion times over, since we have the technology to do so. And for the idiots who say we should see further because if the Earth is flat, no, you're wrong. Okay? We cannot see vast distances. First of all, your eyes can't see it, and the moisture in the air builds up over miles and miles, 10,000 miles, another 10,000 miles. The water in the air makes everything unable to see. Let me put it to an easy where numbskulls can only understand. How far can you see in the fog? That's water. All it is water in the air. It's moisture in the air. Okay? So if you're driving in the fog, what are you going to see? You can't see 5 feet in front of you. That's the same thing we're looking in a telescope, vast distances. Okay, that moisture builds up and builds up and builds up, and it hides whatever's in front of the lens. Okay, so the Earth is only 5 feet long in the fog? Is that what you're going to say? Is that how brilliant you are? You understand that, right? Okay, flat earthers researched this years ago. All these stupid questions that people keep regurgitating, these are new people or dumb people or people trying to screw with us. Everything has been answered. We left no stone unturned. All your answers, all your questions could be answered. So if you leave a stupid comment saying, oh, wait a minute, it's already been answered. Everything's been answered. And some things haven't been answered because we don't know everything, but very few things have been unanswered. Okay? There's 2 things you got to know. Okay? There's nothing in any database that gives you curvature. Curvature's never been measured. If it's not in a database, that means the curve has never, ever, ever been measured. I'll tell you another thing that's never been shown. Okay, let's get to this is flat Earth for dummies. I mean, for real stupid people. It's so plain to see. I just proved to you there's no curvature of the Earth in any database. Now, I'm going to prove to you that space does not exist. If space existed, okay, check this out. It's for really stupid people. It's really easy. And here's another, $1 trillion for anybody debunking what I said before and what I'm going to say now. $1 trillion. Doesn't matter how much money you offer, people can't debunk this. Why hasn't anyone, since the beginning of space travel, sent an astronaut up with a handheld camera, opened the door of his spaceship with his camera running, and walked through the threshold and just spun around and go, oh, sun, moon, stars, spaceship, Earth. At the 360. That's never been done. Now, that's 60 years it's never been done. Now, if space existed, the first astronaut in space, the first 10 seconds, not 60 years, the first 10 seconds. Yes, not what, here's my camera on, here's me turning, sun, moon, stars, spaceship, Earth. That would be the first 10 seconds. If astronauts really existed and astronauts really went into space, the exact first time in space, doing a spacewalk, the first 10 seconds, not 60 years. 60 years, nobody's done what they said. But the first 10, this is to show you how ridiculous space is. It's a totally made-up, fictional bullshit story to keep you blind, dumb and blind to the reality that you live in. Okay? The first astronaut, the first 10 seconds in space, handheld camera, 360. It takes like a half a second to do a half a turn, right? You go, oh, sun, moon, stars, spaceship, Earth. That's never been done. The first 10 seconds of being in space 60 years ago, that's what would have happened if space existed. But how much time has passed? Okay? A day, 2 days, 3 months, 3 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years? 40 years ago. Oh, are we going to do a sun, moon, stars, spaceship, Earth today? No, we forget our camera. Oh, that's in 40 years. 45 years, 50 years, 55 years, 60 years. Are we going to do it? No, we don't have the technology. I mean, what is stopping them from doing what I just said? The first 10 seconds of man being in space 60 years ago proves space does not exist. There could be no other answer. Now, $1 trillion or any amount of money you want, we'll write the check for video footage of an astronaut going, here's the sun, here's the moon, here's the stars, here's my spaceship, here's the Earth, bingo, bango, wango de tango. $1 trillion would be offered in your hand, signed. Here's your $1 trillion, sir.
It'd be so easy for you stupid people to believe, oh, there's got to be footage of that. No. Space, listen to this, space does not exist. The heavens are above, hell is below. You got a firmament. Earth is flat. It's a realm, not an earth, by the way. It's a flat plane. That plane's right, that fly around, plane, flat plane, earth plane, flat plane, airplane. It's a plane. Airplanes fly above a plane. That's what they call it, a plane, you freaking morons. Flat earth for really stupid people. Stick to those 2 points. In the future, they will not give you an astronaut with his camera running, walking out the door of a spaceship, doing a 360, going sun, moon, stars, spaceship, and Earth. It's always, oh, we're looking down at the Earth. Oh, it's amazing how the astronauts just float on their bellies and can't turn around. Just like an upside-down turtle on Earth, they can't turn over. What the fuck? Really? First 10 seconds of being in space 60 years ago, I want to go, oh, I'm Max Malone, I just got into space, last 10 seconds, and here's the sun, here's the moon, here's the stars, there's my fucking spaceship, and there's the Earth. That's never been done. Really? And you're going to argue, oh, Max, you're really stupid, space exists, No, it doesn't. It never has. It's a fictional, made-up story, like everything else in this realm. It is too easy. It's too easy. So $1 trillion, anybody want $1 trillion? Show me video footage of what I just said. Astronaut with his camera running, going through a door of a spaceship going, sun, moon, star, spaceship, Earth. Done. Something they should have done the first freaking 10 seconds in space, man. They can't do it. We can see the ASS. Hey, asshole. No, you shouldn't be able to. If you use real science, you shouldn't be able to see that dumb thing, you retard. What's wrong with you? That's the time you do real science. You should not be able to see that tiny little freaking thing by the naked eye or anything. Morons. They put something up there no matter what it is. It's not an ISS and it's not in space, but they're fooling you with something there. It is not the ISS. Because if the ISS existed, they would have showed you footage of it being built. That would have been nice. They would show you anybody working on the ISS on the outside doing a 360. That thing's been there for 20 years. And no one said, let's turn the camera on before we go out the door. No! Let's just go, oh, there's the Earth. We're floating above it. Really? There is no ISS, and there is no satellites, and there is no space, and there is no astronauts. Wake up. Don't be stupid. Okay? I'll write a blank check. I'll sign it. Put the amount of money you want to be owed when you debunk me, you idiot. Because whatever I said today, no matter what retarded comments will be coming up, you can't debunk what I said. It's an impossibility. I am done and done.